Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fullstack Geovisualization workshop. My name is Louis Liu, and from Ohio State University, Department of Geography. So I'm going to show some prerequisites and what we're going to do to install these prerequisites in the computers, right? So as you already know that, probably you already know that we will have two parts in these workshops, the front end versus the back end, right? So we have like two separate requirement in terms of like prerequisites for the first parts and the second parts. So before we actually install that, I want to make sure everyone's have the basic skills. Is that basically is pretty much everybody has. I think is you probably want to have the basic ideas about GIS as like a maps. What is layer, point, polygon, polylines. These ideas are very basic, and probably even if you're not from a Department of Geography or a geography majors, you probably already know this. And also you should be having some basic PC and internet knowledge, like how to use a computer, how to access internet. So I believe everybody have these skills. And some programming experience I prefer, but not limited to specific language or web programming. So it is not necessary that you know languages we're going to learn in these workshops, so that you can actually have zero programming experience. That's totally fine. So, but if you do have some excerpts like R, like MATLabs, like Python's, that's totally perfect. I mean, this is definitely helpful for our progress. And finally, if you want to go for the backend parts, some database knowledge is necessary, like so what is a database, what is a database managed systems, and what is a database GUI, so that you can understand this without, very difficult. But anyway, these are very simple ideas that you can just basically just search it online. You can know that, right? So yeah, these are skill requires, not very hard. And the next part, we want to talk about our hardware requirements. So in these workshops, because I am a Windows 10 users, and although we can actually do the same things in other operating systems, but since I believe a lot of people are so like in these comfort zones of a Windows system, so I think we need to like concentrate on Windows 10s as um, like um, like as examples, right? But it is not necessarily like only working on Windows 10. You can actually do the same things in a lot of like you know different systems like Linux or Mac OS. That's totally fine, especially for the front end. I believe there is no barriers in terms like how to do this, right? So yes. And the second is the internet is necessary. So because we are dealing with basically 100% like internet stuff, so we definitely want to need like the internet, right? And finally, if you want to finish the backend parts, you will need a PC with the administrator's privilege. I am doing the front end parts right now in a university PC, so I don't actually have the administrator privilege. But since I am just recording for the front end parts, that's okay. But if you want to do the second part, which is the backend, you definitely want to go to use your own PC, because we are going to install MongoDB, which is a software that requires your administrator's privilege. So yes. And then we're going to talk about our softwares, right? So we will have two parts. Let's talk about the front end parts, right? So first, you want to make sure you install Visual Studio codes. I already link this code, like a link here, so you can just click on that, and it will go to a new page that will directly let you download and install these corresponding platforms. But now, since we're using Windows, we can want to click on the Windows. All right, so you can see it's downloading, and as soon as it's finished, that we can click on that, and we can actually see this. Okay, so click on the accepted agreement and then click on next. So here's, you see I'm using a university like a PC, so I have to use this. Let's click on next. So click on next, yes, and add a pass. This one is actually very important. So remember to check this and keep everything's with the default. But before, I want to make sure that I do not, okay, I did not have the VS Code in this computer, so we can actually install and see what happens. So basically, the idea of setting up the VS Code is to have IDE. You can imagine as a place that where we wrote every code scenes, right? It's essentially like a advanced version of notebooks, right? So that it can have better functionalities, different like a, yeah, it's already finished. Okay, let's see that and let's see what it's like. So basically, it's a like I would say this is the best IDE you can ever find, and it is not just for a single language. You can actually install a lot of like other plugins to make it more versatile in terms of like functionalities. So no matter what kind of language you wrote, like a C++ or Java's or JavaScripts or Pythons, you can always use this IDE as the general or generalized IDE that you can use. Okay, so basically that's what it is. We can actually see like later is what it's like, well, how we're going to use that. Now, second, we want to do is we want to go back to our instructions. By the way, this is instructions. We want to stick to the instruction from the very beginnings. And second is that we want to install the GitHub Desktop. So this is, since we're already in this website, we want to install the desktop, which is like the local version of these softwares. So let's click on that and download that. Okay. So now see here we have a GitHub Desktops, and click on the download for Windows. Right, it's downloading. Let's go back, and of course you will need a GitHub account. You can create it from here. Let's click on that. I already logged in, so but you can always like, it's pretty much like a register for Facebook or Twitter's, right? It's no big difference. You can just follow the instructions. Shouldn't be a huge problems. So let's click on this GitHub's desktop setup. Now, after you install that, okay, this is very clean views. You don't actually need to like do anything. It's just automatically installed in your local. So yes, it is already installed. You can already see this is like the things, right? This is the views you're going to see. So here's we're going to use first that you can, if you haven't created your account, you can click on here to create a new account, right? Or you can click on click on here to sign in. It will link to the web page. That's I would just log in with my credentials. All right. No. Okay, so here's we're trying to open that. So click on open to let it open. Okay, so here it is me, and I'm okay with this. I just choose my working emails. Let's click finish. All right, you can see this is actually working. You can see my different account. That's all right. So here's we want to click on next up. Let's go back to the UCGIS, these instructions here. So after you register and confirm your GitHub account, make sure you confirm that, like do the go through your like emails, which is the email entered when you register your account, and it will go to the GitHub again and confirm that. And you can actually use the full functions the GitHub can provide. Now we need to fork this repository. Is actually the very repository, which is this page we're looking at. So but we can actually open that in a new Windows so that we can have two side by side, so that we don't have to like scroll down to grab. That's not very convenient. So here's so I'm looking at my own. I'm looking at my own the pages right now. So here's let's sign out then and see what happens. Let's search for that. Let's click on that again to see what happens. All right, so you should be seeing this, right? So here's it says a fork. So once you sign in, it should be having your own icons and your credentials showing here. So you want to click on the fork to fork my workshops, which is the repos, these GitHub repositories. And click on fork, it will show something like, yeah, of course, I want to maybe. This is my another account, which I did not. I may want to, yes. Let me log in. Right, I'm back. So I'm logged in with another account I have. So now, as you can see, I can click on the fork to actually fork these repositories. So you should be seeing something else because I already forked this, but you should be seeing something like you please wait for several minutes to see to show this process. But eventually, after several minutes, there should be like few seconds. When after we click on the refresh, you'll be seeing the same page as mine. So yes. So after you do that, you want to do is you want to click on the code and here it will show the HTTPS. You want to click on these buttons that will copy this link. So let's go back to our link. So here's by the way, I want to sign out and sign in with my new account. All right, so I log into my second account and it should be seeing something like this. Okay, so after you fork that and I go back, you should be seeing something like this. And you want to clone the repository from the internet, click on this. And here you can directly click on the ones you just fork in the web page, or you can just go for the URLs and copy, no, not this one, but the ones we just copy from here and copy that and click on clone, right? You should be seeing something like this. You can change, of course, change the location of your repository. Okay, now see here, so you should be seeing something like this. How are you going to plan to use this fork? Now, instead of using this, let's click on this for my own purposes, because I don't actually want you to contribute to my parent, which is the so-called parent repos. This is just for yourself. You're going to develop on your own, right? So let's click on this for your own purposes and click on continuous. All right. All right, so you should be seeing this. So now after you do this, let's click on open the, this is pretty much like it, but make sure you want to see them by yourself, right? Let's make sure and see everything's in the VS Code, which is the IDEs, right? Let's click on that randomly. This is the instructions I wrote in the markdown languages. That's all right. We don't have to discuss a lot. This is the demos I just show, which is actually the small web demos we're going to wrote. And here's we're going to see the data sets. This is pretty much it, right? All right, let's go back to the instructions. Now, the next step, basically, this is basically what we did, right? And finally we need to do is the GitHub page, which is like the features we use to host our website, which we're going to make, right? So after we make the website, we want to host it somewhere in the internet so that everybody can actually visit them, right? So here's what we're going to do is we want to go to, for example, this is my second account, so fork the like repos, right? What we want to do is we'll click on the settings and click on pages. All right, you can see I already set up a web pages, but a GitHub pages, but you should be seeing something like this. So to do to host it or open these functions, you want to click on the mains and keep the rest of them the same. Then click on save, and it should be saying something like this. After clicking on save, you should be something like this. And wait for minutes. Do not click on this immediately, right? Let it wait for some minutes. You should be seeing some. This is my usernames. You should be seeing your usernames, right? So let's go back to the instruction to see something that's not okay. So here's if you want to test whether you open that, there are several ways of doing that. So first is that you can go to the data set we're going to use. We're actually using UFO witness data in North America's in the 2019 March. So we want to copy these websites, but we don't actually copy them all. We can just copy the location of the data sets, and we want to go to the web pages shown here. So let's click on that. Now you should be seeing something like this. This is the instructions, which is actually the same as the instruction here. So let's copy the ones after this and see data sets. Okay, so maybe not yet, or you should be seeing the same. Let's test another ones. So you can use the demos. So these ones should be working. Okay, so this is the ones you should be seeing, is that you should be seeing your maps. So this is actually in your own workshops. So yes, you may be seeing the different like views, because so actually the ones I'm using this like is the older versions. We can actually update it and see what happens. But you don't have to do that, because you always, by the time you do this, I already update everything. So yes. Right, so let's go back to the instruction to see if anything is that step. I think this is all. So after you do this, make sure you can assess these two data sets, and remember to change these parts to your own usernames, and do not include this bracket or parentless. Okay, so remove all of these inside and including the square bracket. Okay. Right, thank you. This is the front-end parts. I will record another parts for backend. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.